Nice to see you.
Oh, hi. Lovely to have you on the call. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks so much for doing this Q&A with me. So I guess, we initially met at the MBA Greenish Society session that I delivered a session to. And I thought your story as an international student yourself was really inspiring and really interesting. So yeah, I thought it'd be really nice for you to share, your success story with other international students, at the moment, and for them to hear that it is possible to get a job in the UK after your studies, and it's not without its challenges, but your story was really inspirational. So thanks very much for doing this call.
No problem at all. I hope I'll be helpful to them and I'll
I'm
be
sure
able
you
to
will be.
give them some honest advice.
Yeah. So I guess just if you let us know what you're doing at the moment, what you studied, and I guess what brought you to the UK as an international student in the first place.
Yes, definitely. So, hi everyone. My name is Raluca. I'm originally from Romania and I came in the UK in 2015 to study my bachelor's degree. Actually, when I entered the UK, it was the first time I ever been in the UK. I've never even been as a tourist. So, it was quite an immersive and special experience. I studied BA Events Management at University of Greenwich and I graduated with a first class degree in 2019 after a 4 years program, including 1 year in the industry. When I graduated, I was able to secure a graduate role actually in the university where I studied as a partnership officer, and then moving on to my current role as an employability officer, where I met Bianca at one of our networking events. I think what drew me to the UK in the first place was the quality of education. I was really excited to be one of, I knew that there are great students coming to the UK, the greatest minds in the world. I knew that there's going to be competition, but I was up for it. And I really hope that I will become one of those success stories.
Yeah, and you have, by the sounds of it. So well done. Yeah. So I guess, did you, when you came from Romania, so you came without having been to the UK for a holiday or anything like that. So did you experience any kind of culture shock when you first arrived?
Yes, definitely. I think that was a bit risky. Everyone is telling me I should have tried to come at least the summer before, but I always really liked the UK. I think I was a very big, I might sound a bit cliche, but a Harry Potter fan. So I don't know why, but I thought, oh, I don't need to give it a try. I'm sure I would love it. And obviously, six years down the line, I'm still here. So it shows that I really loved it. Yes, there was a cultural shock, but it was a positive one. When I arrived in the UK, I remember I had this huge suitcase carrying around central London. I was in Victoria Station. I'm not sure you know how busy it gets
Yeah.
around 5 o'clock. And it was the first time I've seen something like that, so many people going out in the offices. But I was surprised how kind people were, because everyone was stopping to help me with the suitcase. I remember trying to get into a taxi and he would tell me, oh, no, it costs too much. You are a student. I will show you which tube to take. And I was thinking, oh, that's so nice. That wouldn't have happened somewhere else. So I felt very welcome from day one. But I think there are things that are different, obviously, between the UK and Romania, where my hometown is. But I think I adapted quite quickly, and everyone is very welcoming. It's very diverse. I didn't feel like a foreigner.
Yeah, that sounds like a very positive experience. Yeah. Yeah, the transport thing, when you go to other countries, that can be one of the things, just understanding transport and how to get around. And it's like something you might not think about, but then you arrive and you're like, oh, I didn't even think how I was going to get from the airport to my accommodation, or, so yeah, it's quite common thing, I think. So I guess, what did you find most different to your home country in Romania and the UK? So maybe as a student thinking about, the difference in the education system or student experience, yeah, what did you find the most different there?
The biggest difference would be the type of assessments, because in Romania it's mostly exam based. So a lot of the assessments I've done during my high school were really test and exam based, whilst in the UK it's very much of a project based system. So you're doing your assessments, you're doing your projects, and you need to have self motivation to make sure that you get those in time. So I think I've had a bit of a shock initially around that, because I was very much used to having an examination period in which I prepare for, but in the UK it was more ongoing, so I needed to make sure that I do my reading every week. But saying that, I did feel that there was a structure to the academic year, so at least there wasn't a point where I would have been very stressed. But I think that is a very big difference in the educational system, and I think most international students come with the idea of exams, and although there are exams as well in some of the programs, I think it's very much project based in the UK, and you need to get into that mentality of making sure that you keep yourself pace.
Yeah, yeah. So quite a lot of changes in the kind of academic side of things that you experienced by the sounds of it. And then when it came to applying for jobs, how was that experience for you applying as an international student, applying for jobs in the UK?
So my first experience, and I'm quite shameful to say this as an employability officer currently, but we don't all start specialist in employability. I came from Romania. I had a lot of volunteer experience. Obviously, I was 18 when I arrived in the UK, so I didn't have much work experience. And I remember walking around all the shops in Westfield, dropping their CV, and my CV was pretty much, oh, I am a very nice person. I volunteered a lot. Please take me. And obviously that was not something that impressed them. And something that I regret not doing is getting in touch with the employability officer earlier on, because in the UK there are very specific standards which I think don't match the European standards and what we get taught in internationally. So I think it's very important to visit the career services as soon as you arrive in the UK, because is very off-putting for employers if they receive a CV that's not in the standards that they expect.
Yeah, so I guess looking back, kind of thinking about your situation, what advice would you give to other international students at the moment who are looking for opportunities in the UK, whether it's placement or job? Yeah, kind of trying to navigate their career. What advice would you give them?
I think first thing that you should do is to look up your university's career services, try to see if you get any support available, try to contact people on LinkedIn as well that might be able to help you with the information, but don't try to go out there by yourself, because you're probably not going to be successful, not because you're not great, you definitely have the skills, the experience, but just because the format is so specific that you really do need to have someone to at least teach you in the first instance how to write it. I think I would have saved a lot of time if I did that. And it took me a few months to find my first position. And I worked as a waiter, which was a great experience and many transferable skills. And I think coming to that, the second piece of advice is to not think that working in hospitality or in retail is not valuable, because everything has got transferable skills. And sometimes retail jobs are a bit more flexible if you're on a part-time mode. I worked as a waitress and in the reception of the hotel when I was studying in my first 2 years of academic studies. And I can definitely say I've got my placement as a result of the skills that I developed during those roles. So I think don't underestimate the value of any part-time role that you could find whilst being in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important point about the transferable skills, and especially as an international student, getting any type of UK work experience is so valuable. You know, if it's like part-time, you've still got that exposure to the UK work environment. You're learning how to work in the UK, like all the employee processes and so on. That's so important. Do you think, international students are aware of how important that is to put on their CV?
I think a lot of students tend to underestimate part-time roles, and they think, oh, well, if I work in a restaurant, the corporate world will never look at that as something positive. Whilst I think it's the other way around. And I think it's because we think that if we want to have a certain career, we should only focus on that. Whilst in reality, a lot of the skills, and I think I'm better at customer service than if I didn't work in hospitality. I really go by, I think there is a theory that everyone should have a hospitality job at some point in their
Yes,
lives so that they can
definitely.
develop good customer service, which is very transferable. But
Yeah.
I think if you do not have any work experience in the UK, regardless whether hospitality, retail, it will be harder for you to find
Yeah.
a role because they would not see your transferable skills, and they would not think that you understand the working culture in the UK, because that's another aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's really important to include that on your CV. And obviously, there's ways you can restructure it that you would put that in a different section that's maybe not entirely completely relevant to the graduate jobs you're applying for, but it's still like, I've got some part-time work experience, and it shows you don't have gaps in your employment as well. So yeah, it's very important. So I guess, yeah, with because we spoke about this a little bit as well, the post-study work route, the graduate route, obviously that's coming in into force, and international students can apply from the 1st of July. So how do you think that's going to impact the chances of international students to be able to get jobs in the UK? Do you think it will make it easier for them, or how do you think that's going to pan out?
So my personal opinion on that is that yes, definitely it's going to give an extra layer of chance to the students, and obviously the employers will be able to take you without having to sponsor you. And as an international student myself, I was quite lucky because I was on the European Union route back when I graduated. But I think that UK, it's a very inclusive environment, and I think that there are and there will be equal opportunities for international students to apply for roles. So I think what you need to focus on is to make sure that you bring the right values, the right skill set in your interview process, and just convince the employer that you can offer something special. So I think I think you shouldn't be discouraged by the fact that you have the title international student. And I did, my colleagues back in my undergraduate studies, I had a few colleagues that felt discouraged by being international, but that's the wrong approach to take, because even if you're international, you still have got very good chances to securing a role. It's just about starting early. So start to think about it early. Obviously, if you leave it very, very late, then you will lose the chance to apply for most of the graduate roles. So start to think about it. If you're in undergraduate studies, start to think about it as soon as you start your third year. If you're your master's degree, you should start a few months before you actually finish your master's degree. So don't leave it until you submit your dissertation, because that's probably going to be too late. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of the international students do. And it might be that in your home country, the recruitment happens after you finish university, but in the UK, it happens whilst you're still studying at university. So I think that's the first step to take. But in terms of opportunities, yes, there definitely are opportunities out there. And I think if you bring on the right skill set, you work on making sure that you tailor your applications and have a different applications for each employer, each position, then I think you give yourself the best chances to succeed. And it's your mindset as well. Don't trap yourself before you actually even try.
Yeah, great advice. Yeah. So yeah, mindset, starting early, and like you say, yeah, that's quite an important point. The cultural differences across countries about when recruitment happens for graduates. So like in India, for example, the employers go onto the campus and they do the interviews on the campus with the students, and then basically they are offered like a job there and then. So it's so different to the UK that doesn't happen. So yeah, and it's just really important to be aware of those things. But yeah, great advice. Is there any last piece of advice that you want to give to international students, or any last comments you want to leave?
Yes, I would like to say that everything starts with your habits. So for me, the moment when I started to see the success and the growth in my career, when I started to have the right habits, so it could be just scheduling in every week some time to catch up on your applications. Life gets very busy, your third year gets very busy, you probably procrastinate, it's just how human nature is. So just making sure that you build the right habits, block the time in your calendar to apply for roles, block the time to think about your career map, and just make sure that you utilize on all your resources and contacts while still being at university, because I'm very confident if you do, you'll be able to land in your dream career.
That's great advice. Couldn't put it better myself. So I would say that any of the University of Greenwich students watching, please contact Raluca and her team. You know, like she said, you know, reach out. The support is there. The employability team, if you're looking for a placement or other opportunities. So yeah, definitely take up that service and opportunity. So thanks very much for your time today, and we'll keep in touch. But it's great to see you.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye bye.
Ciao.